All right, so now let's answer the first part. So the first company that's offering a good pricing is AB Transport, which has two pricing models. So the first one is called Light, and they're giving you the graph for this, and you need to figure out the equation. By looking at the graph, upright, the first thing I notice is when my x value is 0. So this point here is my origin, so this is 0, comma 0. So when my x value is 0, my y value is 10. So that means my c here is going to be 10 units. I need to figure out my m, the slope. So what I'll be doing for m is here I need to figure out the change, that is delta y over delta x. So let me first figure out the range of x values. So let me take x between 0 and 10 units. In fact, what I can do here is just put a little bit of data here and say this to be my distance. And this is going to be my cost. So this is going to be in dollars, and this is going to be in kilometers. So now let me try and look for my slope. So when my x is between 0 and 10 kilometers, so when I move x by 10 units, my y is actually moving all the way from 10 to a point here which is 35. So when my x is moving between 0 and 10, my y is moving from 10 to 35. So my change in y is nothing but the highest value of y, which is 35, minus the lower value of y, divided by my higher value of x minus my lower value of x. This will give me 25 over 10, which is 2.5 units. So now the equation for my pricing curve here is going to be y is equal to 2.5x plus 10. All right. So now let's take a look at the second model. So there's another offer from AB Transport, which is called Shuttle. Basically, in this, what he's doing is he's offering you a fixed cost of $35. Regardless of you're going to go 10 kilometers or 100 kilometers, you need to pay him this $35 upfront. And he's going to give you an additional charge of $1.5 for every kilometer that you travel. This is pretty straightforward. So when I look at this, the first thing I notice is my fixed charge. What he's talking here as fixed charge, which is $35, is nothing but equivalent to my y-intercept, because regardless if I go 0 kilometers or 100 kilometers, I still need to pay $35. That means when my x is 0, my y is still 35. So my c is $35. If you look at the second statement, which says additional fare of $1.5 per kilometer, referring back to this diagram that I have here, when he says per kilometer, he's referring to the x value, the x-axis. So that means every unit of x value that I'm increasing, I need to multiply it by 1.5. This is nothing but my slope. So he's given you all the information upright. So using these two information, all I can do is just quickly grab the equation, which is y equals mx plus c, where m is 1.5, so 1.5x, plus my c is $35. So this becomes the second equation that's being offered by AB Transport. All right, so let's take a look at the third option. So there's this company called Heavy Duty Courier, which has a flat fare of $80 throughout Auckland. This is very simple. So what that means is if I have a curve, so if I have a line, so let me first quickly draw my axis. So this is going to be my x, and this is going to be my y. So regardless of what I'm doing with my x, I go 0 kilometers, I go 10, I go 20, or I go 50. Regardless of what distance I'm going, I'm still going to be paying a fixed fare of somewhere around $80. So that means it's basically going to be a graph that looks like this, a straight line curve. This straight line curve can actually be represented as an equation, which is nothing but y equals just the y-intercept, because this is still going to be my intercept when x is 0, my y is 80. So this is always going to be y equals 80 And remember this, the reason why there is no mx in this particular equation is because my m, the slope, is 0. So when I have y equals mx plus c, 0 times x cancels out to be 0. So I'm only left with y equals c. And that is basically what I'm arriving at for my third equation. Alright, so we have one last option, and this one's called Kiwi Couriers. He also has a very similar model to number 2, where he has a fixed fare of $50 and an additional charge of $0.5 per kilometers. So same as what we did in number 2. So whatever you have as a fixed fare is nothing but your y-intercept, and whatever is talking about additional charges is nothing but your slope. So your equation for this one is going to be y equals 0.5x plus 50. Okay, now that we derived all the four equations for the companies, we need to kind of put them in a good form, because when people are looking at your answer scripts, they need to understand that yes, you've got all the information, and yet they all make sense. So I generally like to do a table when I finish finding out all my equations. I'll quickly do that here as well. So I'll write here as my table. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'll write my name and equations. So I have 4 different names. The first one is AB Transport, which has something called as light. So I'm writing all the short forms. The second one is AB Transport called Shuttle. And I've got another company that's called Heavy Duty Courier. So Heavy Duty Courier. And my last one is a Kiwi company, so Kiwi Couriers. All right, so I've got 4 companies. So let me quickly draw my table. Quickly grab the spot. Sorry about the wind noise today. It's pretty windy here in Auckland. And hit this up. All right. So I generally like to number them as well. So the first thing I'll do is I'll write here my numbers, because whenever I'm going to solve problems, I'm going to be referring back to the same numbers. And this is going to be my equation 4. So my equations are, the first equation is going to be y equals 2.5x plus 10. For the second one, y equals 1.5x plus 35. This one is y equals 80. And the last one is y is equal to 0.5x plus 50. And once I do this table, I generally like to write the most important information under it, which is where y is cost in dollars and x is distance in kilometers. And this information is very, very important for you, because if you do not know the context for which you're writing these equations, we really can't mark you for this assessment. All right, so once you've generated all the equations and put them in a table form, the next thing that you need to be doing is graphing. So in this assessment, regardless of what you're doing, what task you're doing, graphing is one of the most important skill sets you need to show to get achieved. So I'll quickly write here as graphing. Generally with my students, I just tell them to use Desmos. So I'll be showing you the same thing on Desmos. So the first thing that you can do is just go ahead and hit desmos.com on your browser, and you can just follow the steps that I'm doing right now. All right, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be putting all my 4 equations in the left-hand pane, and they're going to be giving me the graph here in this region. So my first equation is y equals 2.5x plus 10. My second equation is y equals 1.5x plus 35. The other one is y equals 80. And the last one is y equals 0.5x plus 50. So this is going to give me all the four equations that I need to be looking at. I'll try and minimize my screen right now because I'm looking at my numbers. And this is interesting. So my equation number 3 is dark in color. It's kind of not up to the mark. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to something that looks much better. I'll probably choose orange. All right. So let's go ahead with this, and this looks much better. So I'll close the screen here, and if you can take a screenshot of probably this and paste it onto your answer sheet, this is going to be your graphing. A quick tip here. So when you're looking at your graphing, there are points of intersection. For example, let's say the green line and the red line, wherever they intersect, if you put in your cursor here, you would actually get the x and y coordinates of it. And this is really helpful when you start doing the merit and excellence part of this paper. See you in the next part. All right, so once you're done graphing, the next thing that you need to be doing in this assessment is to do cost calculations. So in other words, what I will be showing here is the cost calculation for all the parameters. What they've done is they're telling you that you have 3 places where you need to be sending your goods to. So you've got one place which is at 35 kilometers, the other place which is 12 kilometers away, and the other one is 58 kilometers away. In other words, okay, when you look at this, in other words, all these things mean nothing but x. They're the different values of x that you need to be looking for the value of y. So the first thing that I'll be doing here is I've already drawn the table to just make the video faster. So the first thing that I'll be doing here is writing my 3 different destinations that I need to be going to. So the first one's going to be Nature Fresh. I'm just writing the short forms. The second one's going to be Fruit World. And the third one's going to be Bread Talks. These are the 3 companies I need to be looking for my cost comparisons. And I'll quickly put up my 4 different equations along these lines. So the first equation is y equals 2.5x plus 10. This one is y equals 1.5x plus 35. This is y equals 80. And the last one is y equals 0.5x plus 50. So I've popped out all my equations. Basically here, just to make things easier, what I'll do is, as below these words, I'll be writing down my x values that I need to be putting in. So I put in 12 here, and I put in 58 here. Now, looking at this upright, even before I start my calculations, the first thing that comes to my mind is this equation here. Regardless of what distance I travel, I'm always going to be paying $80. So this is done. Now, please pause the video here and try and figure out the different values of y for all the x regions. For example, say here, you need to be putting 2.5 times 35 plus 10. Similarly, 1.5 times 35 plus 35. And here, it's going to be 0.5 times 35 plus 50. So try and fill up this table. Just pause the video here and do it, because after this, I'm going to give you my entire table. All right? All right. So the generated table looks something like this. Now, looking at this table, you can actually look at all the different numbers and see how they make sense. For example, if I need to be sending my goods to this particular outlet, I would definitely be going for the cheaper options. I would be choosing this company, company number 4, which is Kiwi Couriers. Similarly, if I need to send my goods to the second outlet, I would actually be choosing the first company, which is AB Transport Light. And to send goods to my third company, again, I would be choosing the most cheaper option of the lot, which is again going to be the fourth company. And now looking at the numbers, it actually makes sense that it's much easier for you to just choose the fourth company to do your transportation. Now, the last thing that you would have to be doing in your assessment is write everything in context. So in other words, I can just go ahead and say that to send my jars of, say, jam to Nature Fresh, it would cost me $67.5 by Kiwi couriers. So as long as you put in a statement, this will land you an achieve. And before I come to the end of this part one of the video, I just want to quickly recap what we've done so far. And just bear with me for a minute. So, so the first thing we did is we went ahead, we started deriving all our equations and stuff like that. So I hope you remember what we were doing. And we also went ahead and created the table, and we did our graphing, and then we did our cost calculation. So basically for achieve, you need to be doing three things. And the three things is the first one is give me the equations. The second thing is you're going to give me the graphs. And the third one is you're going to give me sample cost. And do all these three things in context. That means you need to write sentences. And if you do that, this will land you an achieve and 3 credits. Hope you like this video and just stay tuned for the next one. All right, see you around. Bye-bye.